What if joy isn't just an emotion, but a statement? In sociology, we talk about structure of institutions, norms, systems of power. But what if I told you your emotions are also structured? We are taught not only what to do and what to feel, but most importantly, how to feel them. Academically, sociologist Arlie Hochschild calls this feeling rules. Think of them as the invisible guidelines that tell us what emotions to feel and when to feel them in the given social circumstance. For example, how a winner should look, how discipline should feel, what success should sound like. Then there's Emily Durkheim's collective effervescence, where people feel something together, creating this electric resonating energy. Think of a stadium, a concert, a performance. That shared emotional charge that binds us all together is collective effervescence. But what happens when someone disrupts the scripts of feeling rules? Does collective effervescence follow suit? Think Alysa Liu. Her performance exhibited radiant, physical, and visible joy in a space that often demands discipline and composure. Or think of Bad Bunny, where he turned mass spectacle into an unapologetic celebration of culture and solidarity. In moments where we expect seriousness, they gave us joy. And that joy didn't weaken the moment. It spread, it synchronized, and it created connection. So today, join me in exploring this idea that joy, when defying expectation, can be resistance. Hi everyone, I'm Valise, a studying sociologist, and this is Socially Speaking, a show where I talk current events and place them and tie them to the sociological patterns they reside in. Today, I would like to talk about how these performances inspired me to think about feeling rules and think about the effects or consequences of collective effervescence. First, let's define what feeling rules are. From Hochschild's emotional work, Feeling Rules and Social Structure, which I have right here, she talks most about what the definition of feeling rules or norms are. And she explicitly says, feeling rules are rules that seem to govern how people try or try not to feel in ways appropriate to the situation. Such a notion suggests how profoundly the individual is social and socialized to try to pay tribute to the official definitions of situations with no less than their feelings. In layman's terms, and what this means is people not only are told what to feel, but most importantly, how to feel them in certain situations. And our performance of these emotions usually pay tribute or play performance to how other people should receive or perceive these emotions. While reviewing this, it's known through Hochschild's work that society and its interactions script emotional behavior. For example, we're told when to laugh, where to laugh, how to cry, when to be angry, when to be sad, when to be happy, and if there's too much or too little of these emotions, which would make it socially acceptable. Through this, we can only infer what is the right and wrong way to feel, especially with the examples that I'll be discussing here today when it comes to success or winning. Usually in sports spectacle, especially in Olympic figure skating, there's a notion or an expectation to be stoic and disciplined while staying humble, creating these feeling rules around what winning should look like. In the case of Alysa Liu, we see the very opposite. Her visible joy and her radiant nature of her confidence within her performance allowed for a disrupt in how we expect athletes to react or feel when winning. To explain this, Alysa Liu won the gold medal for figure ice skating in this recent upcoming Winter Olympics in Milan. Through her performance, she not only dazzled the entire audience, but also after receiving her medal, she put on a gala performance to the song Pink Pantheress' Stateside, which is a very viral song within online communities. Her unapologetically expressing her authenticity throughout this performance jump-started an entire reaction of what Emily Durkheim likes to call collective effervescence. And to define collective effervescence, defined in his 1912 book, The Elementary Forms of Religious Life, Durkheim explains that the intense electric energy and shared sense of unity felt when groups gather for a common purpose, such as concerts, rituals, or sports, is the notion of collective effervescence, meaning people feel a collective shared emotion when being a part of or gathering for something common that they all share. This shared charged emotion of feeling her authenticity charged not only online audience but fans alike. She created connection by being herself in a space that demands such regulated reaction and emotion. Through this, her joy didn't just reflect victory, it created connection. The appearance of how Alysa Liu has stand out within her performances by dyeing her hair however she wants, doing whatever she'd like, choosing her own music, and picking the things that she likes to do within her art and the way she expresses this art resonated throughout her audiences and through the people that have discovered her just from her gold medal performance. I know for me, for example, as soon as I saw Alysa Liu and her expressing and doing this beautiful performance, I knew that not only did she come from a place of authenticity, but she wanted to do it. She always has the notion of when the goal is to experience, everything is a win. And I think that's very beautiful considering that she took home the gold. So it also gives this notion of, because we're so used to people or figure skaters and to be so poised and so stoic, her exhibiting the opposite of that not only showed that you can do it and you can struggle and you can be yourself and you can do the things that you want to do on your own terms. And I feel that not only her performance relayed that, but also the collective or the effect of collective effervescence is because of the rejection of feeling norms that she has when it comes to Olympic figure skaters, especially athletes in this regard. I believe collective effervescence is so strong that we saw these same dynamics play out weeks before in Bad Bunny's Super Bowl halftime show. As we all know, I mean, at least I know, as we all know, Bad Bunny put on an exuberant performance during the Super Bowl halftime show. This performance of him being a Spanish-speaking artist on an American sports stage or spectacle created social divide. Yet his unapologetic display of his Caribbean culture and call for solidarity elicited waves of collective effervescence beyond Latino communities in America. His performance was so exciting not only to see, but his music itself is all in Spanish. His music being one of a collective chant while using the Spanish language and his Puerto Rican identity served as an emotional anchor, which served this concept right. Throughout his show, he exhibited symbols, interactions, and representations of marginalized identities to call to the notion that together we are America. This joy and celebration of culture called for something greater beyond this performance: solidarity and the awareness of togetherness beyond social divide, which I think is so beautiful considering when you look back at these reaction videos and the people's reactions of not just being together and watching this, but they feel a sense of pride knowing that they are seeing their culture unapologetically without any regulation being displayed on such a global scale. During the performance, and I'll put it up somewhere here, Bad Bunny during the performance says something that I thought was so beautiful. And he said, "Baila sin miedo," which means dance without fear. Baila, baila, baila sin miedo. And I think that's exactly the entirety of what he's trying to get across, is that without fear and without regulation and without censorship, we should be able to feel the authenticity of our own culture and who we are identically. With people feeling this among all these communities and the pride that they felt for Benito watching him, especially myself, I'm not even Puerto Rican, and I felt such pride knowing that he is baila sin miedo, he is dancing without fear, is what Durkheim is trying to get across. Durkheim explains this feeling exactly bonds people and allows for the strength of solidarity to carry on. His joy in his display for his own culture allows us to see how joy, in this case, can be resistance. Because when an entire stadium and crowds of people watching at home are singing in Spanish, it's not just entertainment, it's a collective affirmation of resistance itself. Through this, I want to discuss how in a culture obsessed with discipline, productivity, grind, meritocracy, and emotional composure, joy and the displays we've discussed here today disrupts the control and the emotional policing that we've prioritized in American culture. To think about both events on a bigger scale, you can see the Super Bowl and the Olympics are usually, well, at least historically, are visual displays of nationalism, which in turn calls for discipline and composure when representing America. Yet we see with these examples of Alysa Liu, her unapologetically being herself, coming in with bleached dyed hair, choosing the music she wants to choose, eating the things she wants to eat, doing the preparation and the work and the expression of figure skating on her own terms, and with Bad Bunny and his unapologetic display of his own identity and critiquing socially around what his culture has dealt with and experienced. Through this, we understand that the rejection or disruption of these feeling rules and norms are forms of resistance, and in turn can and will create waves of collective effervescence or collective resonance in this case. Collective effervescence is not just about resonating and about being able to see see something and be like, oh wow, I love that. I really want to feel that. Or being a part of something bigger than you, but it's also the biggest part is human connection. I know both Alysa Liu and Bad Bunny, with their performances and with the things that they've already exhibited in the past couple of weeks, not only have shown that authenticity and your own identity and who you are is the ultimate way to express yourself, but also that human connection will go beyond farther than you could ever think. I believe, and especially with Alysa Liu's mindset, that human connection is the only thing that will take everything that you think of, everything that you feel, everything that you experience higher. And the reason why I made today's episode is because the feeling rules and the things that we've prioritized, discipline, productivity, grind, to always keep your head down and not worry about anyone else, is not only destroying our sense of who we are and how we show up in society, but also a sense of what we like to do and who we are as a person individually. Durkheim likes to talk about the individual versus the social. Yet what he really likes to say in his entire thesis within his work is that the individual is a socialized person, and that people are born into this world as an individual, but as society shapes them, they become a person with character. And I believe that's very beautiful and that's very true. And whatever we prioritize and whatever we feel or think or put meaning to in our societies is what's shaping us to think about not only the people around ourselves, but also ourselves as a whole. With these displays of joy and exuberant confidence and creative authenticity, I believe it's not only breaking down barriers of what we think or what we think we should feel, but it's also fostering a connection that's bigger and beautiful than we could ever think. People are not only feeling this connection, but they're exploring what it means to feel so connected to their neighbor. The reason why we can't be able to do the things we do or make meaning or sense of the crazy things that are happening around us is because we're not connecting to our future neighbor or to our next door neighbor. The world will always be crazy. The world will always go fast. The world will always have these events where you can't make sense of them. Yet, wouldn't it be just a little sweeter to know that your next door neighbor is going through the same emotions you're going through as well? I believe within the sociology of emotions and with the topics I've been talking about today, yes, emotions are socialized, but we also do have the power to shape how we feel and what is important to us. I feel as though that this is the right step or the very first step into the direction of what it means to actually foster connection and what it means to be a part of something bigger than you. In the end, collective effervescence isn't just about feeling a shared emotion or a shared experience, but it's also redefining what we feel and how boldly we can show these emotions. Because sometimes joy is the most radical emotion in the room. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. Thank you for hanging in there with me. 2 weeks ago, I did the interview with Helen Montilla and Innovate the Label. That was very exciting. We are now back to our regular quality and we're back to just me and you and doing our thing. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for giving me your time. I appreciate you being here. And if no one's told you today, you matter, you're worth it, and you're important. I'll see you guys next time. Also, go out there and be your freaking self. Go wear that dress. Go dye your hair that color. Go listen to that music and go put on those shoes. Literally, no one's telling you not to, okay? Go do your thing and be the most you could ever be. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.